guys, welcome back to my podcast, The Wisdom Within Her. So today we'll be talking about goals. Very interesting. This one of my favorite topics again. It's just so important as a female to just understand that you have to be self-driven, right? You have to have goals. You have to be a goal-oriented person. And again, even though all your ideas are not coming into fruition, even though all your ideas are so crammed in your head, get it off the paper. That's what this is about. Get it off the paper, get it off the notebook, get it off the board, and just put it in action. So as a female, it's just important to understand that we need goals, right? So again, what are your goals? Ask yourself, do you have goals? And if you do have goals, what are they? So it's just important to understand that we need goals, right? We can't just go day to day without saying, okay, I have nothing. We don't have goals. We don't have anything to be successful for in life, you know? So it's important to understand. We just have to think and be smart about it. So the acronym that I use is SMART, right? A coincidence, but it's true. So SMART. So you have to be specific, right? So be specific with your goals. Understand that you have to narrow it down. Don't be so generalized with your goals, because when you are generalized, then you just have everything that you're looking at, right? You have to narrow it down. So don't be so generalized, meaning, okay, I want to be rich by tomorrow. That's very generalized. That's just a broad statement. That's very broad. But when you specific it down and you narrow it down, then it matters, right? You know a specific difference. So the next one is M, right? Measurable. Are your goals measurable? How long will it take to get to the goal that I need to reach? How will I measure my goal that I need to reach? The thing about it is we just have to, put in the work. We can't just say, okay, think, right? We just think it's going to just come right off the paper. No, just put your time in, right? Just put your work in. The next one is A, achievable, right? So I always say, what are the logical steps that we need for our goals to be in place? The thing is that, everybody's goal is not the same. And everybody's goal is not going to be the same time frame as the next person's goal. And that's what we have to keep in mind. As a female, we always want to compare to our friends. We always want to compare to everyone. No, your goal is your goal. Your goal is different than everyone else's. And that's okay. The next one is R, right? Relevant. Is it realistic? Is your goal realistic, or is it not realistic? Is it relevant to what you like to do in your life? Is it relevant for you in your life? Do you have the resources? That's the bottom line. The fact of it is we just get so caught up into, not trying to do our research, not trying to do research. Just the fact of it is we just want it. We just want it without putting in the work. And that's a problem. As a female, that's a problem. T, right? Time. So this is one of my favorites because we want the money, but we don't want to put in the work. We want the success, but we don't want to put in any work. We want all the rewards, but no efforts. Right? So that's time. Where's your efforts? How much time are you spending on these goals? Right? What goals do you have intact to spend time on? So the fact of it is, use that acronym and just understand these are questions that you need to think when you're making your goals. Just think, are they realistic? Right? What are you spending time to do for your goals? We want to be rich. We want to be successful. We want to do this. We want to do that. But we're not trying to do anything to make that happen. And again, as a female, we get so complacent. We get so comfortable into, okay, I'll just write it down. Or sometimes I won't even write it down. The old me didn't used to write things down. I just had everything crammed in my head. I had ideas every day, left and right, ideas, but didn't really put anything in motion. So the fact of it is, I just want to tell you and encourage you, put your thoughts in motion, right? Understand first, what is your goal? Write it down, right? Make a whole list if you have to. And again, everybody's goal is not the same. So if you tell your friend, oh, my goals are this, let's be realistic. Maybe through conversation, it'll happen. But 10 times out of 10, me personally, I don't tell my goals just because when you speak about it too quick, then it may not come into fruition. But again, when you're putting in the work, anything can happen. And that's what you have to be. You have to be positive, right? Goal-oriented person. You have to be positive. You can't be so negative and just think, okay, all my goals are just nonsense. Whatever, it's crap. But you can't be. Another thing I want to touch bases on is executing the plan. So once you have your goals, right? Once you've written it down, you have to understand, execute it. How am I going to execute the plan? What does that look like, right? Sometimes it's long nights, staying up long nights, writing everything down, using anything that you have for your resources, right? Doing research. Another thing is, are you saving to where you need to be for them goals, for your goals, right? I use the term getting rich, right? Whatever. being successful, right? But in reality, what am I doing to put that in place, right? I have to create framework, right? I have to do things to make it work. I have to do things to make my goals come alive, right? I have to be creative. And that's another thing. Step outside the box, right? We always talk about goals, but we don't say, okay, what are they, right? What is intended to? The fact of it is, when you have goals, it's not all easy, cut clean. It's not all, rainbows, and no, it's not. It's going to be hard times because, again, when you think of goals, you're going to be, not to say stressed, but you're making things come into life. So you're going to do hard work. You're going to be hardworking, right? You're going to work into your goals. So another thing I want to talk about is self-discipline. We need self-discipline. We need that discipline, because if we don't have that discipline, then how are we going to reach our goals, right? Again, we want everything, but we don't want to put in the work. So when you're self-disciplined, you have to understand you can't do the things that you used to do, right? You can't be around the same people that you used to be around. You can't do the same things that you used to spend money on, right? Because you have goals. So again, you're going to do certain things differently this time. And as a female, I want you to realize, do things differently this go around. Don't just do things the same way. And again, you have to do things differently, because if you don't, you're not going to know what to do, right? Understand time management. That matters. If you're spending all day doing nonsense and not pertaining to your goals, how is that effective? Right? You have to be effective, right? You have to be positive. You have to put in some type of work. You have to read books. You have to make sure that you're organized. You have to make sure that everything is up to par that you want, right? And you have to educate. That's another thing. You have to educate. If you want goals, you have to understand, okay, what are long-term goals? What are my short-term goals, right? And again, my goals are different than your goals. The time that I spend on my goals are different than yours. But again, we have to do the time. You have to do the work. We can't just say, okay, we want this, we want that, but we're not putting in any efforts, right? So when we talk about goals, we always think positive. But society is not telling us the downside of it, right? So when you hear goals, if you don't reach your goal, obviously you're going to be frustrated. If you don't reach your goal, you're going to be, frustrated with emotions. You're going to have different emotions. When you don't reach your goal, you might be embarrassed. When you don't reach your goal, you might even not even try to reach any more goals. So it's a downside. It's going to be a negative side, which is people are not going to, even try to support your goals. That's another thing. That's why I personally don't tell my goals, because if someone says, oh, you're not going to do that, that's like, it makes you think, okay, well, you don't believe in my goals, so why am I believing in myself? But again, me to you on my podcast, I want to encourage you, continue believing in yourself, because they don't know your goals, right? They don't know what life that you want to live for yourself. They don't know what you're creating. And the fact of it is that you are your own creator, right? If I tell you some of my goals, you probably think, oh my gosh, this girl lost her mind. So again, don't really just get caught up into what everyone else is thinking. Don't get caught up into the negatives, because again, if you don't reach your goals, you're going to want to give up. You're going to want to quit. But the fact of it is, everything is not built overnight. And again, we're not caring of what everyone else thinks. So my goals are different than your goals. So again, continue those hardships, continue putting in the work, because they don't know your goals, right? So another thing, when we get too overwhelmed, sometimes, right? Goals are very overwhelming. You have things that you want to do, but you don't know where to start. That is another thing. We just have it all on paper, but we don't know what to do with it, right? Make a checklist. I always say, if everything is in your mind, it's going to be crammed. And again, that's overwhelming. That's very much, you're not going to be able to do what you need to do, because you're so caught up into your vision, right? Another downside, if we get so narrow, right? We get so specific. We're just thinking of now, boom, we want to get rich. Okay, boom, one goal. But we're not being fluctuating. We're not being, we're being resistant to every other goal. We're not paying attention to every other aspect in our life. So that's another thing. You have to branch out, right? You can't just be so stuck on one thing. You have to look at every aspect, because yes, you will have a goal in this one, but what about the other goals? What about the other aspect of your life? We're just so focused on money hungry. But what are your other aspects? And that part too, we have to stop being so narrow-minded, and we have to be open-minded to all of the tools that we have, to all of the resources that we will need. And again, be open-minded to yourself, because you can't be so hard on yourself, right? When you have goals, when you're being realistic, everything is going to seem, okay, too good to be true. Or it's going to be, okay, so hard that I can't do. And again, don't give up, because we all had times like that. I always wanted to give up from the very first time I started what I really wanted to do, right? So I told you guys I wanted to do my own nails. I do my own nails. So it gets hard, right? So that goal didn't just come to me overnight, right? I wasn't just successful with doing my nails from 1 second ago. No, I had to do the work, right? I'm about to take my classes for it. So it's hard, it's expensive, but again, am I going to quit? Am I going to stop because nobody is supporting me? Absolutely not. That should be your driven. That should be your focus, right? Because again, you have to be hungry for what you want to do. And again, your goals will be different than mine, but you have to understand that it's not going to come easy. And the nights that you're crying, the nights that you're thinking, oh my gosh, how can I do this? I can't do this. No one's supporting me. No, but everyone is doubting me. That should be the things that you're driven by. As a female, be hungry for what you want, because no one else is going to give it for you. No one else is going to do the things that you're going to do for yourself. And as a female, this is what I want you to understand. To my young girls, do not give up because no one else is seeing your vision. That's the problem with society. Once someone doesn't support them, okay, next goal. I failed at that goal, so now I'm going to do something else. No, continue trying it. It's good to have more than one, but understand what your purpose is. Understand your focus. And again, your goal should align with your purpose. Now, you have to find your purpose sometimes, right? So again, we all are not going to know our purpose, right? We're not going to all know, okay, what are we supposed to be doing in this life that we're living, right? We're not going to always know, okay, what is supposed to be on our mindset. But the fact of it is, you have to get in that train of thought. You have to understand, what are you good at, right? What's in your heart that's meant for you, right? So your goal should align with that. So with me, it's always speaking positive, giving back, right? Giving. I like to help people. So the fact of it is, everything needs to matter and everything needs to align with that goal. And again, how do we know what our goals need to be? Get in a mindset of doing new things, right? Being in a positive mindset, because when you do positive things, you get positive outcome. But when you're going into the negative mindset and, oh, I can't do this, I can't do that, they're thinking this, they're thinking that, you're going to be thinking everything else but what you need to be thinking about, right? So when you have goals, just understand that you have a concrete plan, right? Make that concrete plan. And again, that concrete plan may look like different than mine. You may not want to read all these books and do all this, but you may want to just write your own story, right? Pick up a pen, write on the bulletin board. I don't know, write on the whiteboard, just make a plan, make your framework of creating what you want to do. Right? Because you have to get it out your head. Because when you're in your head so much, again, you're going to be frustrated. And that's normal. But as a female, I want you to understand, get out that cycle. And again, don't let no one tell you that you can't do it. Because the moment that they tell you that you can't do it, but then you do it, then they want to support you. And then it's too late. Because you're already doing what you need to do. And you don't really need the supporters. You want the supporters, but you are your own support system. Right? You are your own who you want to be. You are the creator of the life that you want to live. And I always say, I don't care if it's 0 people around me. I'm still going to do what I need to do. I'm still going to do what I want to do because this is who I am. And I want you to understand, to be that strong person, to be who you are, right? Because again, I had times I wanted to give up. I had times that I wanted to quit. I had times that I was too scared to even, speak the truth. But again, when it's in you, it's in you. And another thing, just to point out, as a female, it's important to live in the now, because when you achieve your goals, right, you have to understand and treat yourself. Don't just be so hard and just say, okay, next. No, you have to live in the now, because who you are today is not who you were 5 years ago, is not who you were yesterday. Who you are today is not who you were 10 years ago. That's who we want it to be. So now that you are who you are, let's live in the moment and appreciate that. We have to appreciate things, right? We can't just say, okay, next, done, or we're not giving thanks or appreciating everything that we just been through. No, you have to honor it, right? We have to treat ourselves good, because the thing is, we have to acknowledge. You have to acknowledge, because when you're not acknowledging it, okay, we're taking a backslide. But we can't, right? We want to be better than yesterday. We want to be, the new version of ourselves wants to be better than the old version. So we have to give gratitude, and you have to be kind to yourself. Treat yourself, right? Do something nice for yourself. Don't just expect the world to do something nice for you. No, you treat yourself. Treat yourself the way you want to be treated, right? Dine yourself. I always say, do something that you want to do, which is want everyone else to do for you. I always say date yourself, right? And not even in the other aspect, but it's just to make yourself feel good, right? Buy yourself something, treat yourself, be nice to yourself, be gentle with yourself. All the hard work that you just accomplished, why are you beating yourself up still, right? We always want more and more and more, but we're not giving gratitude, right? You have to understand it does not come easy and it doesn't come in a day, but you have to know that you have to acknowledge where you've been through, right? So with me, I'm obviously not where I used to be 5 years ago, because if I was, I would have been in a different mindset. So I always just appreciate the now, because you're not going to get that back, right? You're not going to get the heartaches back because, again, you grew. That's another thing. You have to just look at the times. You grew, and it's not going to be perfect. You're not going to be, okay, where I want to be in the future. We're always looking in the future. We're always trying to look ahead. But why are we not looking in the now, right? We have to look at the present moment, and you have to appreciate it. Because, again, of course, you want to be a perfect person in the future, but we can't be perfect, right? We want to be a better person in the future, of course, but appreciate the now. And as a female, I want to encourage you, just don't give up. Don't give up because you think, okay, I was better than yesterday. Yeah, keep striving, right? Keep striving, but be gentle to yourself. And you have to be kind, because if the world is beating you up, you're beating you up, what do you think is going to happen? You're going to quit, right? You're not going to want to do anything. So if the world is not kind to you, if society is not kind to you the way that you need them to be, right? The way that you want yourself to be, you have to take that aspect and just think, okay, this is what I need to do for me. Show up for yourself. And again, be gentle with yourself, because again, accomplishing something is not easy. Accomplishing something can take 2 years, can take 5 years, can take 10 months. It's no limit on it, but you have to be in the now, and you have to acknowledge what you did, right? And you have to humble yourself, right? So when we achieve what we need to do, sometimes we get so big-headed that we don't even want to help no one else. Sometimes we get so big-headed that we don't even want to be humble. We want to just, the word brag. I don't know. But when you surround yourself with positive people and you guys are all achieving something, you have to take in consideration, humble yourself and be kind to someone else because they didn't get to where you got to yet, right? But again, encourage people, help people, right? As a female, help the next, because again, we all don't know it all. I didn't know it all. But what I know now, I want to help someone else so that they wouldn't be where I was, right? What I know now, I want to help myself so that, again, in the future, I can be better. But I have to live in the present moment right now. So I have to appreciate it, because where I was, I'm not no more. And that's mindset, that's physically, that's spiritually, that's my mentality, right? So it's important to understand, just enjoy the moment. And not to say be carefree, but it's okay to just live, right? It's okay to just not have so much of society based, right? We always just want to put a title on everything. Just live, right? And just understand that you are who you are from your accomplishments. So, if we want to achieve our goals, we have to surround ourselves with people that either, not to say have the same goals as us, but are goal driven, right? We can't just be so goal oriented, but then are around negative people. That is an oxymoron, right? That is not going to add up. So if we want good, we have to give good, right? So if we want to be surrounded by positive people, good people, we have to make sure that, okay, we're good within, but you have to be that for other people as well. So what I mean by being goal oriented, right? Have that person, have your friend group, have your working group, whoever is around you, just look at your circle. Are they goal oriented? 10 times out of 10, I will hope so, because you need to know that you have goals. But you can't have goals if you're not around the right people, because if you're goal oriented, right, and you're around negative people, of course, they're not going to see your vision, right? But of course, also, they're not going to help you elevate. They're going to have you go down, right? They're going to take your money. They're going to want to go out, spend all the money. But you have goals, so you need to save. You need to put your money and invest into things. But your friend group, the negatives are not going to be the same. And that's where you have to draw the line. You have to have balance, right? You have to have balance between the two. Because if you're goal oriented, you don't want to be taken from, right? You want to be added on to. So again, know who you're surrounded by. Look at your friend group and just think, just listen to them. And you'll know if they're goal oriented. You can just look at their motives. Just look, are they goal oriented? And that's important for you to understand, because again, you have goals, you need to be driven, and so does everyone else around you. it's important for that. So, I always just talk about goals, but we have to be realistic, right? At one point, I wasn't always into goals. I wasn't always goals driven. I wasn't always, just having this mindset, this mentality that I do now, right? So, again, we was teens, but I was just wanted to have fun. I'll say it that way. Just wanted to have fun. I wasn't so caught up into, oh my gosh, I have to do savings, checkings. I have to save my money. I have to be conscientious of what I need to do. I have to be thinking about my future. Right now, not to say I wasn't always goal oriented, but what I know today, I wasn't in that mind space. So, like college, I'll say, I really had to get tapped in with my goals. I had to lock in with myself because if no one's going to do it for me, who's going to do it? Yourself have to, right? So I remember early teens, I was just wanting to party, wanted to do everything, hang with friends, wanted to, just do things, but without knowing that there was consequences, without understanding that, okay, this is what you shouldn't do. Again, because my friends were doing the same thing I was doing. So how can they be goal driven if I'm doing the same thing? That's not being goal driven. So what's being goal driven is me saying, okay, I got to take a step back. College, I have to stop partying, I have to start studying, right? I have to stop spinning out and I have to start putting it into what I need to do, open a bank, right? I have to understand the difference. So I had to really just think, and it was hard, but when you separate the two, it pays off. And honestly, once I graduated college, because again, we have to be realistic. You're not going to graduate if you're always partying, doing things that's not goal driven. So once I did, I'm like, okay, I have to continue being locked in with myself because I have goals. I have things that I need to do in life. And the realization that I had for myself was the second year of college. So again, it's not going to be the same time frame as me, but I always like to be personable and be honest and real because again, these are things that happen in real life that society is not telling you. So we always say we want goals, but who's going to tell you when they didn't have goals, right? I remember at one point I didn't. I just know I wanted to be successful. I just knew that I wanted to do things, but okay, was still creating all these bad habits, all this baggage. And again, the two does not add up. So cut those bad habits, lock in with yourself, have self-discipline, and just understand that at some point, you have to get tired of what you were doing. At some point, you have to get tired of depending on everyone else. No, have your own goals. Know that they have to be in concrete, right? Because again, as a female, lock in with yourself. If you lock in with yourself, just say, give yourself 5 months, give yourself 2 months. Just say, you'll be better than today than you were yesterday. Because when I had to lock in with myself, once I graduated college, it's a different scenario. So it's a different world because obviously you're not going to school. You're about to start working in your field, right? You're about to start just doing things on your own. So my goals had to be different because I needed to be in that mindset that, okay, get up, you got to do this, right? So don't get so lazy because you have one goal. No, get all the goals under your belts. Right? Understand that you have a purpose and know your purpose. That's another thing. I found who I was when I was in college. High school is different, right? You're different, but you have to find yourself, right? So the thing that changed was, okay, everyone's doing the same thing around me. Something's not right. So change who you need to be, right? For who you want to be. And again, it's not easy. You're not going to do this overnight. You're not going to do this in a second, but it can be done. And when you have a positive mindset, when you have goal-driven people around you, to uplift you, but even when you don't, right? Because at one point I didn't have the support. At one point I didn't have someone say, okay, you need to do it. No, it needs to be in you, right? You have to have that mindset to say, okay, I have to do it for me because they did it for them, but it's not succeeding, right? So you have to do it for you. And as a female, I just want to encourage you to know that your support is you, right? You don't need to look for everybody else to congratulate you. You be your own applaud, right? You applaud yourself. And that's what I want you guys to realize because we always expect the world to applaud us. We always expect the world to congratulate us. No, you do it for yourself, right? Stand up for you. Because again, you are who you are and you have goals and you have a mindset that you need to be in because again, you need to be successful. And as a female, break that cycle, right? Because we're not always trying to be successful. We want to do everything else. No, break that cycle, right? Because on my podcast, that's what I'm here to tell you. Break that cycle, right? Because you have to. And as a female, growing up as a Black female, goals are not talked about at all. So just understand that whatever society throws at you, continue doing what you need to do for you, right? Continue having those goals. Continue being so driven that you can't stop. Because even when they want you to stop, keep going. I always say, keep your foot on the gas pedal and don't let up. So to close out this episode, I just want to encourage you girls to just continue setting goals, right? Realistic goals. It can start from small to big, but let's start small first. We're not going to just go off the tangent. No, let's just start small, right? Be realistic. Continue being positive. Continue being goal driven. Continue, uplifting yourself and continue doing what you need to do for you and having that mindset of positivity and just continue keeping going because society is not going to tell you that. Society is not going to push you. They're going to beat you down, right? So continue doing what you need to do. And again, continue following on my journey to the Wisdom Within Her podcast. And I'll see you guys later. So continue tapping in. Bye, guys.